Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm Justincredible. I am a Florida artist and I am representing Atlantic Center for the Arts today. We're in a mini series entitled Finding Your Inner Creative Writer. Now, first and foremost, everyone is a creative. Everyone is a writer. I don't care what anyone tells you. Even Walt Disney at one point was told that he was not creative enough and was fired from it. Everyone is a creative. It has nothing to do with your style. It has nothing to do with where you come from, what type of music you listen to, your friends, whatever area you were born and raised at, has nothing to do with that. Everyone is a creative. It just takes sometimes time, sometimes circumstances or situations to bring out your inner creatives. Whether it's finding an excuse as to why you need an extension on your homework, whether it's finding a way to, sneak off to a party or find a, creative way to get to a destination through traffic. Everyone is a creative inside. It just takes time and it maybe takes some extra help or some support to get there and for you to realize it. And as far as writing, everyone is an inner writer. Everyone is a writer. Writing is simply a form of communication. So whether you're talking to someone in a conversation, whether you're making jokes, whether you're making journal entries, whether you're just making observations or writing plays, everyone has the ability to write. Even if you cannot physically write, you can dictate to someone and someone can do that for you. There's always reasons. There's many reasons to communicate. There's many people to communicate to. And there's different forms of communication. So everyone is a creative, and I'm gonna prove that to you, and I'm gonna give you my own personal tips on how to realize and actualize your creative writer inside of you. All right, here we go. Number one, forget everything you heard about creativity. Forget everything that you heard about writing. There are no boundaries. There are no rules. The only limits that you have are your thoughts. There are no traditions. Forget tradition. There are no rules as far as the way that you write, the content. Maybe there's some general punctuation, grammar type of rules just in language. But even with that, you don't have boundaries with that. There are artists that are known for taking words that don't rhyme and punctuation that are not supposed to be there and just grammar, and they flip it and they change it and they melt it and they make something else. Genres are created sometimes from people testing the limits, testing the boundaries, and doing something brand new. Jazz was created from straight up improv. Do not put those limiters on you. Do not put those boxes on you. There are no limits. There are no boundaries. There are no rules. You write whatever the heck you want to write. If you want to write in jokes, if you want to write in bullet points, even if you just want to write in tweets, just one-liners, do what you do. There are no rules. The world is yours. Number two is self-evaluation, self-discovery. I think this is the best part. This is the most interesting part. This is something that never ends. As long as you're breathing, there's always going to be something to discover about yourself. As long as you're alive, there's always things to contemplate internally or how you feel about things externally. When it comes to self-evaluation, one of my biggest strong suits as an artist is telling the truth, being brutally honest, evaluating myself, being self-aware. I have a statement that I like to say all the time, and the truth is more poetic. I think the truth is the most valuable thing that you can offer as an artist. The truth is more poetic. Make sure that you tell your truth, tell your story, so that at least when you're dead and gone, at least they have a reference and everyone is not talking about you. Vulnerability to me is the most suspenseful, the most intriguing, the most entertaining thing that you can do as an artist and as a creative writer. no one knows your story like you do. There's nothing to be ashamed about as far as your story. Some people in certain genres, as a hip hop artist or as a musician, certain people would think, this is having rules, breaking rule number one, thinking that there are rules. Some people would think, well, I didn't come up from a rough background, so there's nothing for me to be creative and write about. You're absolutely wrong. If you came from a loving, wealthy, well-off family, that's something to write about. That's not everyone's story. You can write about the thankfulness that you've had those opportunities. That's something to write about. For people who are not thankful, people who are ungrateful for a lot of things, maybe that would spark something in them to actually be thankful, to actually count their blessings. As far as the other side of it, if you had a whole lot of opportunities, if you grew up in a well-off family and you were ungrateful, you writing about that and you being vulnerable, that helps you to self-reflect, be self-aware, helps you improve and grow as a human being, but it would also motivate other people to be thankful for the things and the opportunities that they have. There's always a reason to write about you. You are your greatest inspiration. There is an amazing YouTube channel that I love watching. It's called Right About Now and Button Poetry. I like that concept because everything is right now. Everything is present. It's not, hey, I gotta live life. I gotta put on 30 years or something like that before I can write about some good stories. I gotta climb Mount Everest before I, and run a marathon and go through 5 divorces so I can write about love and heartbreak. It's not about that. You don't have to be heartbroken to write about heartache. There's something great about owning where you are right now and knowing that you can improve, you can move forward. Here's some awesome ways to find out more about yourself and to discover more about yourself if you're just lost right now. Your parents, your siblings, your neighbors, your best friends, even friends that you don't like, actually your haters, people who write something negative about you online, actually look through some YouTube comments. If someone sends you hate mail or something like that, take that into consideration. There's always at least maybe a little bit of truth to what a hater tells you. There's something that you can always self-reflect and improve on or make an adjustment. One of the best ways in my adulthood that helped me discover more about myself is evaluations with my supervisor. The most painful, the most awkward, I hate it the most. But they will tell you a lot of things that you don't want to hear, and they're actually contractually obligated to tell you that to help you improve on paper. But I think showing you how your work ethic is it's priceless. I think it's super valuable. It helps you. I think it's gonna motivate you. Here's another one, which you're gonna hate me, but you're gonna love me. What does your ex say about you? Your ex-husband, your ex-wife, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-friend. They will tell you probably some things about you you may not want to hear. They might be half true, they may be partially true, they may be 10% true. But it's always worth exploring. It's always worth at least maybe listening to. And I think it may help you as a writer, at the very least bit, to write down apologies, to write down things that you can improve on for yourself. Personal development is just a part of writing. As long as you're alive, you can always improve on who you are, and you can always improve as a creative and as a writer. Also, for you techies, you can do anonymous surveys online. Tell me about me. People who evaluate you on LinkedIn and different social media networks, blind surveys about who you are. Sometimes you'll get some raw, gut-wrenching truths, but they're places to start at. Write about the way that they make you feel. There's always something to write about. I think it's great. Part number 3. Here's some writing points, some starting points to help you find your inner writer, your inner Edgar Allan Poe, your inner Alanis Morissette, your inner Tupac Shakur. Here we go. What do you love? What do you hate? What are you afraid of? What makes you uncomfortable? What confuses you? What places do you want to go? What places do you try to avoid? What are some childhood traumas that you don't talk about? What are things that you wish you would say to someone who left, who moved away, who passed away? What are some things that you would never say to your parents to their face? What are things that not only make you angry, but you believe you have solutions for? What are things that excite you or intrigue you outside of your circle of influence? Who do you think about outside of your circle of influence? What other countries do you wish to explore? What do you care about outside of your culture? What do you care about outside of your culture, outside of your family, outside of your country? What are some interesting true stories that you know, that you can tell to someone? Who are some people that you would love to interview and get their perspective on some things that you've never experienced? You can start there. You are a creative. You are a writer. I'm a creative. I'm a writer. I'm Justincredible. This is Atlantic Center for the Arts, and I'll see you next time.